Guys, I hope you all are doing great. So, in today's video, we are going to study about footprints. So, footprints are forensic evidence in crime investigation, crime scene investigation. So, as you know that the footprints are a very important kind of evidence where we can find at the scene of crime, where footprints can link us to the culprit, the victim, and the scene of crime. Okay. Introduction. A footprint is a general term used for bare footprint or impression. Examination of footprints helps in identifying individuals. Footprints may be caused by bare feet or by footwear and are useful in detecting the culprit at a crime scene. So it basically means whatever the down part of your foot will be there, right? So that is footprint. So you can see here diagrammatic representation of the footprints also. Okay. So examination of footprints help in identifying the individuals because we can differentiate individuals based on the footprints because there will be different kinds of characteristics and it will be unique for every individual. Like the size of the footprint, the shape of the footprint, and the distance between one footprint to the next footprint also, and even the number of toes, because in some people what happens means due to any kind of genetic defects they will get the extra toe at the last, or else in some individuals due to any kind of injury they can lose any kind of toe and they can get any kind of scratch marks. So based on that and based on the suspect list which we have during the crime investigation, so that can literally help us to find out the specific individuals who have committed the crime. So the footprints is unique for everyone. Okay, footprints may be caused by bare feet or by footwear. So whenever you walk, basically we Indians walk with bare feet at home, right? So even if you are walking with the bare feet also, the footprints will be formed which will be invisible to us, but if we do any kind of test, then we can find the footprints, or they can also be found by the footwear in the sense whatever the shoes which you are wearing, due to that also we can identify the footprints. So if you have ever observed the down part of your footwear, like let us take an example of shoe, you will find there will be some of the design patterns. So if you take, this is the down part of the shoe, you can see that there will be some kind of designs and they will be different for each of the different brands of the shoe. So they will be helping us to have a good grip when we are walking. So whatever the design is there to the down part of the footwear, that will be different for each and every company. So based on that also we can come into conclusion that what type of brand of shoes the culprit was wearing. Okay, so we can match with the known sample to the unknown sample and are useful in detecting the culprit at the scene of crime. Then, nature of crime. Footprints are produced under different circumstances. Impressions on the foot may be caused in mud, sand, or snow like substances, and they are called as depressed or sunken prints. Footprints produced by the deposition of the dust, dirt, or other materials from the surface point. Footprints may also appear when dust or liquid is lifted, leaving a negative print. So, there are two types of footprints, that is depressed or sunken prints and the surface footprints. So, coming to depressed and sunken prints means these are the impressions of the foot which are caused in the mud or sand. So, whenever you are walking, imagine you are walking near the beach and whatever the sand is there, when you are walking on that, you can see that there will be a sunken print, like whatever the sand where you have come across or walked on it, it will be in a lower depressed condition, right? So where you can see that there is a 3D kind of 3-dimensional type of footprint is formed. So that is known as depressed or sunken prints. So we can basically see that in mud, sand and snow like substances. And then we have the second type of footprint is surface footprint. So surface footprints in the sense footprints produced by deposition of dirt, dust or other materials from the surface prints, okay, from the surface prints. Then footprints may also appear when dust or liquid is lifted, leaving a negative print. So basically the surface prints is two-dimensional, okay, whereas this sunken prints is three-dimensional print. And the surface prints are generally found indoors. And of course here mud and sand and snow is coming, so it will be outsides. Okay, this is the two types of nature of the footprints, that is depressed or sunken, and other one is surface prints. Now coming to the location of the prints, where we can find the footprints is at different places. So coming to the first one is at the scene of crime. So wherever the crime have been committed, at the scene of crime, we can find the footprints. Around the place of occurrence, both mean the basically same thing. On the routes taken by the culprit while entering or leaving. So let us imagine that there is a house with a garden, and there is the culprit or the criminal who have committed the crime of robbery of that house. So when he is entering into the house, he came across the garden and then he came into the house. Then what happens, this here he leaves a footprint near the garden area, and he is carrying the mud in his shoes, and when he enters into the house also, whatever the mud particles have been stick to his end of the foot area or with the shoe area, they will be transmitted to the surface of the house, right? So due to that also we can find the location of the footprints and know the entry and exit of the culprit. Then besides these, footprints may also be found on furniture, floors, walls, stairs or drain pipes. If the culprit visited a garage, prints may appear on the floor. Like the whatever the greasy substances will be there on the garages, though with the help of them we can identify the footprints on the floor. If the footwear are smeared in blood, prints may appear in the blood patterns. So basically maybe you have seen this in many kind of criminal movies, crime scene movies, right? So if there is a pool of kind of blood and he is walking by the blood, then what happens, because due to of the blood patterns, the footprint will be imprinted on the floor. And besides this, footprints may also be found on the furniture, floors, walls and staircases also. Then preservation of footprints. Proper preservation is important to ensure footprints serve as evidence. So it's not just you have found the footprints of the crime scene. The first basic thing which you have to do is preserve it. Whatever may be the evidence, it may be the footprints or the fingerprints and anything, you have to preserve them first. Okay, because preservation will help us to prevent the contamination of the evidence, which can lead to the accurate results. So proper preservation is very important in any kind of evidence. So ensure the footprints as a evidence. Wind, rain or other factors may destroy the footprints. So as I said, the footprints can be outside or inside, indoors or outdoors. So if it is indoors, yeah, we can try to protect it to some extent. But if it is outdoors, like if there is let us take an example that the crime is a murder, then what happens, of course you can find the footprints at the scene of crime. It will be outdoors itself. So let us take that the murder have been taken place in the forest areas. Then what happens, if there is any climatic conditions changes are occurring, because we can't predict perfectly, then what happens, due to the wind, rain or any other factors, the footprints may be contaminated and be destroyed. So it is very important for us to preserve in the outdoor spaces mainly. Investigator must record and photograph them immediately. So what I said is, last in video I have said that if you are having the footprint like this, let us take this as example. So what they will do, they will keep a scale here and measure the height of the footprint, and then they will take the pictures. Okay, this is the one method, and they will take the pictures in different kinds of angles so that the footprint will be clearly visible. Then footprints should be protected from damage and carefully lifted or casted. So casted in the sense, it is basically done when we find a sunken footprint, which means three-dimensional footprint. So when we find the three-dimensional footprint, what they will do is they will pour the plaster of Paris by making a fine mixture of the plaster of Paris. They will pour into the sunken footprint, and after it cools down, it will get hardened, right? Then they will remove the footprint and take to the crime scene laboratories. Okay, so footprints should be protected from the damage and carefully lifted or cast. We can lift the footprint, or we can even cast the footprint. Then preservation of footprints. If the footprints are on easily movable articles, these should be taken into custody after noting the details like case number, the name of the police station, the signature of the investigating officer, and signature of the witness. So if the footprints are on easily movable articles, like let us take the footprint have been imprinted on a mat, and the footprint is covered with blood, and we can see the footprint is formed on the mat. Then what happens is a easily movable article, right? So they have to be taken in that mat, have to be taken into custody only after noting the details like what is the case number and the name of the police station which is handling it, the signature of the investigation officers, like who is the first responding officer and the investigating officers, the head of the investigation, the signature of the officer, and the signature of the witness if witness is present. Okay, so if the footprints is easily movable article, then it should be taken to custody after noting these kind of details. So as we took the example like mat. Then if prints are inside the room and they cannot be immediately removed or recorded, then the room should be locked. If this is not possible, the place or places containing the footprint should be covered with cardboard boxes or any other suitable objects. Which means if the prints are inside the room means, first of all, when you are finding any footprints, you have to classify whether it's an outdoor footprint or indoor footprint. If it is an outdoor footprint, and how you have to try to preserve it, like keeping the crime scene tape will be there, right? So by keeping that without making the outside seekers to come inside the crime scene and not letting them to contaminate the crime scene, and then we have to check whether the footprint is sunken footprint or a surface footprint. So if it is a sunken footprint, then how we have to cast it and how we have to lift it. So these things have to be taken care. So if the prints are inside the room, that is indoor, and they cannot be immediately removed or recorded, then the room should be locked. If this is not possible, the place or the places containing the footprint should be covered with cardboard boxes or any other suitable objects. So let us take that the footprint is imprinted on the floor itself. Then we can't remove the floor, or we cannot take the floor into crime scene laboratory, right? So what we have to do is we have to lock the room. Okay, let's lock. So we have to lock the room, and if it's and if this is not possible, okay, or else we have to cover the footprint with any kind of cardboard boxes so that no one keeps the foot on it and contaminate it. Then footprints on the walls should be covered with paper. As possible, precautions should be taken to save the prints from being washed by rain or attacked by ants, earthworms, and other insects. Okay, washed by rain, it's washed by rain. Means if the footprints are on the walls, then they have to be covered with the paper and by taking the possible precautions. So this is about the preservation of the footprints, location of the footprints. So this is about the introduction, nature of the footprints, that there are two types of footprints, location of the footprints, like where we can find the footprints, preservation of the footprints. Okay, so this is a normal brief point of view for the footprints as a physical evidence. I hope you have liked the information in the video. Please like and subscribe and share it with your forensic science friends. And thank you.